when I hit 10, I realized everything's a fucking lie because I stopped believing in Santa Claus, and I went, oh, this is a fucking lie too. And then, I heard the story that my grandma, when she wanted to get my mom baptized, she had to have her head covered in the church because she was less than a man. Because you know how women in the Bible get their connection through a man's rib, and you're a guy, so you're lucky. So this is why women wear hats in church, because they're not privileged to get the direct connection from God. So my grandma was less than a fucking man in the church. Yeah, and you guys are even like one step beyond that. You're even more extreme than that. So what does that say about you?
Well, I'm not sure what church you're referring to, but the church that I'm a part of.
Standard, average, Methodist, Lutheran. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Standard middle Christian church. My grandma was less than a man, and my grandma's still alive too. She wasn't even that old.
Well, I'm sorry that happened to your
First
grandma.
on story.
Yeah, I'm sorry that happened. In the Catholic Church, men and women are treated.
I was raised Catholic, so I don't believe that. I witnessed it firsthand. I've sat there and looked in the room, and like all these people are racist assholes. I got called a Jesus-hating N-word lover by an altar boy who won the Citizen of the Year award in my hometown. Jesus-hating N-word lover by a Christian. So I'd rather be unhappy with where I am today, and I don't.
Even if you don't see yourself as hateful, if you hang out with people who are, and you let that slide, that's a problem.
And like,
Yeah,
you're
so
not ready. You're not
there
ready.
are,
Even if it
yeah,
was
I
fine
think that's a fair point. It's like to talk about like the sinfulness of man, and I think we all have like our own faults, right? But then when Jesus asked, and he's my role model, not like any of the priests that have done bad things. But Jesus says,
like
you have
literally.
to forgive.
You don't call them out.
Like, what the
That's
fuck?
problem. It's like any chance in your daily life, you don't call out the bad things.
No, I
You
for
have-
sure do.
No,
That's why
they
growing up,
are, you call it wrong.
Exactly.
You have to denounce them
Exactly.
everywhere you go.
Like,
And not
what
all
do you
Christians
feel
do
like?
that. You
Like,
talk
Talk
about
about it, and they might retaliate. They might literally reject you from and it's uncomfortable, but it's the way I see it. You can't resist that.
My church wasn't religious. That's why my mom didn't defect until the mid 2000s. But 5-10 years ago, my friend's mom went to that church just for a random mass during election day. Walked out anti-abortion flyers all over everyone's car. Round of the mill Roman Catholic Church. So no, I don't want to be on your side.
you want to be on God's side.
That's a call. That's semantics, dude. You're pulling the Chris Pratt where you're like, I'm not religious, I'm just a man of God. You're separating all of the bad things that your religion's done from their religion, and you're just like, well, this is me, and I'm following. But you're separating yourself and not taking any responsibility for all the harm religion's done.
Yeah, I think God, He created us to have a free will. He created us to be critical thinkers.
I mean, if you still want to be a spiritual person, go ahead. It's just, it's a personal thing.
He wants us to be smarter than that.
My motto is, I want to tell you what you guys tell me. People do it in your own home.
Yeah, that's not what my church tells me.
That's pretty much.
Actually, I have multiple friends that experience same-sex attraction. They love Jesus, and I love them, and I love Jesus, and we don't have any
We
problem.
didn't even talk about any of the conversion therapies that they might have had in Puerto Rico. No, not that particularly, but I think there's a lot of gay Christians that get shoved into conversion camps, and every time you get an attraction, you get shocked. It's pretty messed up.
Yeah, I know how to think about that. But
Could I just ask, why do you say same-sex attraction? Why don't you just say homosexual or gay or something?
Well, at least from my friends that are Christians and that experience same-sex attraction, that's the language they told me to use. So I'm just respecting them.
Okay.
And I'm sure there might be other people who identify as homosexual or gay, and I want to respect all people. So that's at least where I'm coming from, knowing my background.
Okay.
Good question, yeah.
That's all I got.
Yeah, well, thanks guys for at least talking about me. I think that, just one last thing, but you can share more if you want to, is I think it's important to make a distinction between like an action and a person. Yep. And so for our church, like we love all people, but we do acknowledge that some actions are wrong and harmful. So we want to help and correct people so that they don't harm themselves.
Inaction is also an action.
What's that?
Inaction is also an action.
Yeah, and I think there's a fault of inaction sometimes too. I totally agree with you, and I want to make a stand and say, like when something is wrong, I want to be able to acknowledge that and say, like, yeah, we need to stop this. Whether it's a priest doing something wrong or any other sin down the line, like I fully acknowledge that those are sins and those are bad, but we still have to love the people, and we have to seek forgiveness. We have to seek mercy.
So this is a totally irrational fear because there's not like odds, but I think it's reasonable. What if my girlfriend, if I marry your wife, has a child complication? who do you want me to come to if she dies in childbirth? Who do you want me to, I don't want to say kill, because that's wrong, but I would be, if that would happen, I'd probably just end my life right there. If that something that is preventable wasn't prevented because of religious people, I would win single-handed.
Are you talking about like toxic pregnancy when the child?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so a woman in that scenario is allowed to have surgery.
No. There are instances all over the last 2 years, Texas, Louisiana, of like women about to die, and they're like, you're not septic yet. We can't touch you because we'll get sued because of Christian Republicans.
There's a lot
You
of
will get sued if I touch you. So women have to be like this close to dying, crawl into the hospital,
You might not think it
and
goes that far.
then they might
People
trick you.
do take it that
And
far.
if that would happen to me, I don't know who I'd blame. I'd
Yeah.
blame you. I
That's
would
fair.
blame you, honestly. I would blame you. I would blame you single-handedly, every single person here.
At least
I'd
the
blame all.
doctors I know, I don't think that's been a scenario that came up, but you have one that I could look up and just do a personal research myself. Do you have like one scenario?
You can type in Texas, Florida, Louisiana. I saw ectopic pregnancies all over. Women going into septic shock, refuse service because the hospitals are offensive. It's not.
Let's
can't
not even
name
begin
a
when
date.
children get a
I mean, I don't want to pull out
Well,
my phone and
I
Google
mean, it
myself
might be
point.
one thing for the hospital to be afraid, another thing to say you're a Christian. Like, those are two different things. Like a
No.
Christian,
Hospitals are afraid to work on them because the law prevents them from doing so.
Yeah,
Oh,
public
because
policy.
Christian laws.
That's not necessarily like a law that I support. A law that
I
puts a
blame.
woman
I
in
would
danger.
blame.
Well,
but
it's
you
there, buddy.
aren't
It's
separating
there.
yourself
Right,
from
but
that.
that's not to say the
But
Catholic
I'm blaming
Church.
you, man. I'm blaming
don't
you
support that either.
wholeheartedly.
You
And
can.
you don't see the connection. You want to separate yourself from all the bad. Inaction is an
If
action.
you really want to
like
separate
said.
yourself from all the bad, you got to break off with the rest.
Unfortunately, yes. You want to separate, but you're the same thing. You're the same thing.
Yeah, like Jesus had his biggest problems with the Pharisees and the religious hypocrites of his time. And that's no different than modern day institutionalized religions. And like, pick one. They all suck just the same.
And then, like, mission trips. You go to help people, and it's like, you want to become a Christian, man? Like, that's so shady. That's not in good faith.
Yeah, that's proselytizing. And I don't agree with that. So I think, like, your experiences may all be valid because, like, Christians certainly make mistakes. But if you can make a distinction between, like, the church as an institution that Jesus founded that I believe in, and then the people that run it. And, like, that church that Jesus founded, the Catholic Church, is a holy, good, pure church. But the people that run it make mistakes all the time.
Teslas might be nice cars, but Elon Musk prevents me from buying one, dude. It's all one entity. You're the same thing.
Yeah, like,
You're the same thing. It's all
Well,
one.
it's true. Like, we are the body of Christ. We have to recognize, like, as members of his body, Christ is the head. Like, we're on a state of becoming. We're trying to do better. And, like, I get it. People fall short all the time. But that's not going to make me hate Jesus because I fall short, or because my brother or my sister falls short. So you're right. Like, Christians mess up all the time. I fully acknowledge that. I'm on the same page. I just don't let that mess up my faith in Jesus.
You can still speak your faith just by leaving down paths that involve breaking off with the
Go
faith.
practice it on yourself.
It's
Keep
okay,
pushing
you know.
it onto others by doing this shit. That's where you're spreading it more than
Well, like, we
anything
live in
else.
a country that gives freedom of speech and freedom of
I
religion.
know,
And,
and that-
and like, I don't mind, like, if other people are going to talk about, like, what they believe and what they're passionate about, like, I give them equal support, but that needs to be reciprocated, right? Like, if these groups of people want to go out and make a display about something they believe in, like, we need to respect that as well.
No, because their decisions
there's a lot of
will
subtext
affect
there
you
about what they
down
believe
the
in,
road. Your
which we've
abortion
already
opinion
discussed.
might affect me one day. It might.
Yeah.
So I will never
Yeah.
support you, and
My
I will
wife
hate
is
you.
non-binary. They do their gender is completely ambiguous. All right, and they're feeling very scared about all the hate that's been ramping up, and and that's coming from the institutions that unfortunately you participated.
Let me just say, like, my Catholic faith does not hate any person. Does not hate any person. So I think there are some that do. I totally agree with you, but it's not the one that I'm a part of. Because I don't stand for that either. I don't
What do
stand
you
for
What do you
hatred of
think
people.
about someone in the march in February was carrying an America First flag?
Oh yeah. all
What do you
those
think
Nazi
about that?
flags. What's
Why,
the-
with the body of Christ leading the procession, is someone is waving an America
What's
First
the white flag with the green tree on it that I keep
The
saying?
Appeal to Heaven.
Yeah.
It's like a 1776 type of that
Galveston
movement,
religion
like
flag.
a January 6-ish type of thing.
It was at January 6th. The same flag that was flying at January 6th with all the Christian Nazis was flying at your protest.
Okay, so
6 months
the March for Life is what you're talking about?
No, 40 Days for Life here in Pittsburgh.
Fridays for Life here in Pittsburgh.
You had some bad
6
flags.
months ago.
In February.
I actually just moved here in April,
Yeah.
so I'm not sure what those flags represented.
Check it
America
out.
And I'm not
First.
sure- yeah,
America
yeah, I
First.
definitely- I definitely
America
can.
First is an alt-right nationalist flag.
Okay.
Do you think Jesus supports America First?
He was
I
a
think-
big fan of the Romans.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I would say Jesus supports truth first, yeah. And like, I don't think America always, like, as a country and institution, does what is true or what is wrong. So I'm not sure whose procession that was or what
It
those
was
flags were.
this
but-
church's, Epiphany Church's
Oh, was it?
procession.
Started
Okay.
there and they
And
marched
the
right
and
to here.
the
Exactly.
the spokespersons for the church wouldn't comment on the flags.
Gotcha. Yeah, it's possible. Like some people from outside the church community came and like joined the group.
And that didn't scare you? Like does that make you feel uncomfortable? Does that
well,
like,
like
be
if
grouped in
someone,
with those Nazis?
for example, like I don't know who those people were, so I really can't comment on it. But it's possible it's like a
Members
member
of the
from
church.
outside of our church that just jumped in, and at that point, it's like, well, I'm not gonna like say get out of here.
Absolutely,
Or just like,
Well,
absolutely.
the
You
thing
have to
is
tell
that-
them
Of course you
how-
wouldn't.
You
Of course
kinda-
you wouldn't say
you
get
kinda
out.
Why would
gotta
I want
do
a
that.
Nazi standing
It's
with
not
us? or,
easy.
Like,
It's
why would I want
scary,
someone that
but
hates
you
black
gotta do
people
it.
cheering against the church?
Well-
I wouldn't. I would want him to fucking get away from me.
maybe
So,
I would have
why-
maybe I would have a conversation with them to see like what was going on, and then like just hopefully guide them towards truth. But like I'm not gonna
You're
like.
not changing a Nazi or a fascist.
I would at least try. I wouldn't give up on that, but I
Well,
mean,
it's kind of their choice if they want to change.
Yeah,
you know?
for sure.
But
Yeah.
sometimes they don't always make that choice. You know, sometimes their mind is made up, and unfortunately, there's not much you can do other than just oppose them. You know, instead of trying to reach out the olive branch. You know, it sucks. I wish it wasn't that way, but unfortunately, it is.
Yeah.
Yes. Hey, thank you guys once again for the conversation.
Oh yeah.
Have a good night.
And like, look, I totally appreciate and respect the bravery that comes with like going up to the counter protesters.
Yeah.
And yeah, ended up being the last one here.
Hey, yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
nice.
But yeah,
I respect the hell out of that.
yeah. Respect you guys as well. Thank you for talking.
Absolutely. Good luck, man.
Take it easy.